All right, everybody, I got to tell you what just happened. I was waiting for Brad to come in to the studio, and I set my background colors to blue and red, and he showed up, and it was freaking this blues and reds, then the magenta. It's such a match. I can't even believe it. It's like, you know what? We're 2 pixels on, man. We're 2 pixels today. On. That's what it is.
Welcome to 2 Pixels Off, a podcast for creative entrepreneurs.
Yes. Okay, welcome everybody to 2 Pixels On. I'm Mike Janda. I'm here with my co-host Brad Hussey, and today we're going to talk about, oh crap, I need some freaking projects. That's what we're going to talk about. Every creative business has been in this situation where you're like, dang it, I need money. I need a project. How do I find a project fast? Because I need projects. So we're going to dig into that topic. Shout out to Wix Studio for making our podcast possible and connecting Brad and I a couple years ago. And what a great product, man. They just keep adding features. So if you haven't checked out Wix Studio yet, go check out Wix Studio. Lots and lots of great no-code solutions for website development. Yeah.
One of those features, little secret, probably not a secret right now, actually, is the new Figma to Wix Studio plugin, where you take your designs right from Figma and pop it right over to Wix Studio, becomes a website like that.
Yeah. So sick. So sick. So design in Figma and poof, website's done. That's a big deal. Time saver.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can still do all the customization and things after it's in Wix Studio. You can still tweak and modify stuff. It's killer. That's killer. That's a killer new feature. Okay, as we dig into this topic, we are going to intentionally try and give it to you in more of a rapid fire approach. How do we find clients when the crap's hitting the fan and we need clients? Maybe you're just getting started and you need to find some clients, get your first clients, or maybe you just got laid off from a job and you're thrown into freelancing and you're like, I need some freaking revenue. Or maybe you got overhead and some employees and you're feeling the burden of that and you don't have projects coming. You need projects fast. This is how you're going to do it. We're going to start by talking about you have to understand the concept of a sales funnel. A sales funnel. This is the most simplistic concept of a sales funnel you may ever hear. Brad, why don't you walk us through what we mean by sales funnel, because it all applies to how you find clients fast.
Yeah, for sure. So look at a funnel. You got like one of those oil funnels, water funnels, where it's wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. And so the idea here is at the very top is the awareness stage, where you have businesses or your target clients are becoming aware of you. Mm-hmm. And then as you funnel down, the next stage or level of that funnel would be considered the consideration stage. Are they considering you or competitors? Mm-hmm. And the reason why it's narrower is because necessarily there are less people. So you might have 100 people aware of you, 50 people considering you, and then finally the decision stage is right at the bottom, where you have, let's call it, cut that even in half. I'm not giving you industry standard numbers here. I'm just saying it's getting less and less. So if you start off with X, you have X divided by, whatever to get to a smaller number. So awareness, consideration, decision, where you have people booking you or not.
Yeah. So if we're going to try and find clients fast, Brad, would we be looking in the awareness part of the funnel or the consideration part of the funnel? Or would we be looking for people that are ready to make a decision part of the funnel? Where would you look?
Yeah. If you're trying to go fast, you need to go where people are ready to make a decision. If you're making offers to people who are in the awareness stage, it's like asking someone to marry you and you just saw them on the street.
Yeah.
And so you're not there yet, and even in the consideration stage, maybe you're dating, but you jumped the gun. They're not ready yet. They need some courting. the decision stage, they're like, when are you going to pop the question? That's essentially where you want them at. So that's where you're going to find fast money.
Yeah, fast money. And what I see a lot of people, they're like, they need clients fast. So they start posting on Instagram, they start posting on LinkedIn, and they start thinking, oh, maybe this one post, like what's the magic email I can send to somebody through LinkedIn to get them to buy a website from me? That's the mindset. But reality is that posting on LinkedIn or messaging somebody on LinkedIn or posting on Instagram is just creating awareness of your business. They're not ready to buy yet. In most cases, it's just making them aware. So that's not the first place that you go to try and find clients. You go into the decision pool. And that's where the quickest wins are. And it can happen in the shortest time frame possible because they're already ready to make a decision. So let's talk about some of these strategies that you could use to try and find people that are ready to make a decision. What's one that comes to you, Brad?
The hottest.
Wad? Do people call you Brad Wad?
I never heard that in my life.
Brad Wad. All right. Well, that's what I'm starting now.
You like Huss
the
only
Dog.
one Huss Dog works.
Huss Dog.
B-Rad is one.
B-Rad. That's pretty good.
B-Rad. That's a 90s one.
Yeah.
And my sister-in-law calls me Brado.
Brado. Yeah, that's also a good one.
So,
it's a good one.
You know?
Okay.
Whatever works. Whatever floats your boat there, Mike.
Brad Wad. Take it away.
Except that one. I forbid you from that.
You can't censor me, man. You can't censor me.
It's true. Free speech over there.
I want. I can say whatever I want.
Okay. Hot leads. Not hot leads. The hot spot for getting fast money in your operation is going to be clients that you've worked with recently. So past clients, and of the past clients, there's like a spectrum there of who is ready to buy and who's maybe not. And that would be like the ones who recently worked with you. They trust you. They know you're good. You're good by your word. You deliver. Hopefully you're all of these things and more. So when you follow up, hey, just wondering, how checking in on the work that we did 3 months ago. I'm wondering if, and insert your offer here. Are you looking for more work? You don't want to sound pathetic and desperate. So you need to word this carefully. But essentially you're saying, do you have more work for me? Is there something I can help you with? And maybe suggestions. Hey, there's a big change in the algorithm, or ChatGPT just came up with a new version and that affects our project. I wonder if I have a couple ideas. You want to talk about it? That's where you're going to get the faster money. That's the hot spot.
Yeah, it's the hot spot because these people have already crossed the barrier of paying you. Yeah. They've already made a decision to buy from you once. Getting them to buy from you a second time is much easier than converting someone new into a buyer. They've already made that decision. So they've been in the decision part of the funnel already. It's easier to get them to buy again. So I would call this one asking your recent clients for more projects. Now, Brad, you said you don't want to sound needy, but I actually think it's okay to be a little needy. It's okay to say to your client, hey, we've got some production bandwidth coming up available. Do you have any projects that we could work on for you? Or, hey, we're entering into Q2. Just want to check in with you and see if there's any projects we could work on for you. Or, hey, we just wrapped up a big project. We have some availability. Is there anything we can work on for you? I think all those kinds of phrasing is good. I think it's okay to be a little bit more forward in your relationship with the client to try and generate work. We're in a sticky situation. We're in the crap hit the fan kind of situation. Let's be it. Don't shy away from being that.
Build it into your system. When you finish a project, set a reminder in your calendar. Say, hey, Siri. I probably triggered a whole bunch of people's Siris just now. I troll people like that. I go, hey, Siri, play my favorite song. And then we find out it's like Britney Spears
Air
or something.
Supply shows up and they're like,
Air Supply. I saw them in concert, P.S.
You did? Hey, good.
I did. But
making love out of nothing at all.
Making love
out of nothing at all. You gotta, that's the one. That's the one.
Making love
Yes. So good. Take it away.
So good. Take it away. Take it away.
Yeah.
Again, losing my train of thought when we go off on our little montages. Set it into your systems. When you're done with a client, say 60 days from now, follow up to see if they have more work. 30 days, follow up to see how it's going. 30 days after that, hey, we got some production bandwidth. Wondering if we can help you out. Do you have any projects that are coming down? However you want to word it. Do that. And then just be ready.
I like it on a 30 or 60 day follow up, but I also like it as a standard question that you ask at the end of every project. We loved working on we loved working on this with you. Do you have anything else coming up? You should be asking that at the end of every single project for a client because they are ripe. They're still so fresh. They just finished a great project with you. Try and get on their radar for the next thing that's coming.
Yep.
Okay. Next thing that is a fast way to find clients is to pitch the same service at the same price to a recent client. So this is, instead of you asking, hey, do you have any more projects? Go and do a little research. And if, let's say you did a website for a client for one of their products or services, then you look at their site and find another product or service that could benefit from a website, and then pitch them, hey, we just finished this site for you. We would love to do this other site for you that doesn't look like it's been redesigned in a little bit of time. We can do it at the same price. We just finished this one. Are you interested? So you're actually being a little more proactive here and pitching a service into them to try and satisfy another need of their business. You could do this with social media. Hey, we just finished this website for you. I was taking a look at your Instagram and you need some help on Instagram because your competitors have more followers than you or whatever it is. We would love to do an Instagram campaign with you, create some templates and some posts to kind of kickstart getting you the followers that your competitors have. I think that's a great proactive way to try and pitch a client. But it is best if it's a service you've already done at the price you've already done it, then they've already crossed that barrier of decision making and it's easier to close them.
Yep, 100%. This is like, you're going to say, what do you think? And I'm going to tell you what I think.
What do you think, Brad? What do you think? Brad's being sassy today. Sassy.
I am. It's a sassy vibe. I do this with and I could probably do it even better. I love doing this show because I take notes and go, that's what I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
With my intensive, the email marketing intensive / 1 day website refresh intensive. Mm-hmm. So what I do with that is like, you've already paid your fee. You've already done the day. You see how efficient it is. And it's usually to raving reviews. And they often will repeat book and they'll just ask, can I do another one? But I can also be proactive and go, hey, now that we finished your email marketing funnel and we set you up in your ConvertKit, we did everything for you, or I did everything for you. I try to use the singular here.
Yeah.
I'll get their feedback and review and referrals and whatnot, but then check in 30 days later or maybe 60 days later. Hey, do you have a launch coming up? I remember when we were working together, you were mentioning you were going to do a launch in the fall. Do you want to get ahead of that and book another intensive and get that funnel in place? Or in this consideration stage where they're not ready to buy, but you're kind of being proactive with a past client, you offer a complimentary service. So for me, the email marketing intensive, it complements the web design intensive so nicely because I set up all your funnels, but when I was going through, those landing pages needed some love. So what do you say? We'll book in another intensive and we'll take care of all those so your front facing landing pages convert better. So our funnels work better. How's that sound?
So good. Perfect. Complimentary service, something that complements what you've already done. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, that kind of covers the next one that I was going to talk about, that you did do a full website, so you pitch a landing page, or you did a logo, so you pitch a style guide, or you did SEO for one website, so you pitch doing SEO for another website. I think those are great strategies to find clients that are more apt to buy.
Yeah.
Now, I think another one that I want to highlight, and I kind of alluded to this in one of my little dialogues there, monologues, is proposing a new service based on what the competition of a client is doing. And the reason I love to pit people against their competition is because everybody wants to freaking, entrepreneurs are competitive, man. They want to trounce their competition. And it is an angle that you can use in sales to evoke emotion so that a client makes a decision to buy. So you go and you say to your client, hey, I just saw that your competitor did a full redesign of their website. I don't know if you've seen this yet. And you send them a link and you tell them, you know what, we can do a rebrand of your website. We can redo it. Or your client just redesigned their logo and their brand. It looks pretty great. Here's a link. We can redesign your logo, your brand. And you use that competitive thing. Look up their competitors on SEM Rush and see their statistics. If you haven't been to SEM Rush, go check out SEM Rush. You can put in any website and see what their traffic is and how the site's performing. You can get that data. It's so great. Yep. So you can use that data to go and say, hey, client, your website isn't performing well. Your client's is. Let's make some changes. And that competitive nature is an easy way to motivate a client to make a buy. I don't like to do it as a manipulation tactic.
Yeah.
Pitch something that's actually valuable to them.
Yeah.
Pitch it. This is actually going to help their business. So don't feel bad about pitching it in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't want to shame them or manipulate them. You know, once you start venturing into that, you could take any good strategy and tactic and you could use it for evil, let's say. And you don't want to do that. You want to stay away from that, even if it costs you sales. You could be a really pushy salesman who does all the sleazy tactics right out of the handbook and make people feel shamed into buying from you. But that makes you kind of like a sleazy person. Don't do that. But what you can do is they're already looking. They're looking at their competition. If you're serving plumbers and you're doing branding for like trades folk, or if you are, doing back end work, or you're doing logo and branding for alternative wellness, whatever your niche is, they're already looking at their competition. And if you could be looking at their competition from a different angle, that, you're speaking the same language. Yeah. And you could use that to say, hey, I know our friend Kyle Prinsloo, one of his strategies is he calls it something, he has a name for it, but it's basically going to SEO. You're going to Google and looking for local businesses, and it could be in your local area or it could be a different local area. That is the specific type of business. Let's call it dentists in Dayton, Ohio. And you look at the first page, and so they've got all the listings. You can go to the second page, and all those people on the second page want to be on the first page. So maybe if you're offering SEO or on-page stuff, and part of that is your offering, you can contact those people. Hey, you got so-and-so and these three people on number one. They're in the Google card, and they got 18 reviews. You're not even showing up there, and you're on page 2. I can change that for you. I do that all the time. Here's some testimonials, blah, 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 blah. Is that something you'd be interested in? Here's how I could do that. That's one way you could do that. You find where people are obviously struggling and offer to get them out of there. Yeah. And they'll be more likely to consider it. And so they're not like ready to buy at the moment, but they'd probably be willing, so long as you came on appropriately, to jump on a call. Say, hey, look, no obligation call, 15 minutes of your time. Honestly, like, I'm not here to hard sell you on anything, but I'd love to help you. This is what I do. Yeah. 15-minute call, and you get to choose.
So we could call that one that you're proposing a new service based on the competition of your client. You're seeing what the competition is doing. When you mentioned plumbers, Brad, I was thinking about driving around, and you always see the plumber's van pull up next to you or whatever, and it's all wrapped, the van wrap, and it's all wrapped. Take a picture of that plumber's van wrap, and then go research all the other plumbers in your local area and find one that does not have a wrap on their vans, and then go and pitch them and say, hey, I was driving by this van and I saw it, and this is your competitor, and I saw your van and you have a logo on the back window, and that's it. If you're interested in doing a van wrap, I would love to design that for you. And that's honestly, the competitive thing. So you start paying attention and you're pitching in something based on what the competitors are doing.
A buddy of mine just started he's a plumber, he's a journeyman, and has his red seal and whatnot. I don't know if it's the same sort of certifications and whatnot in the States, But he used to work as a plumber in like the school district, but then he's like, I'm starting my own company because of the same reasons that we like starting our own business is the flexibility, you're building an asset, all of it. And you're your own boss. So he started his own plumbing gas fitting company, and he talks to me and asks me questions about marketing and branding and AI and all these things. And yeah, and they're like, they want their van wrapped. They want their business cards. They want their website. They want to be on Google. They want to be searched on the top 3 and go against like the big brands like the Mr. Rooters and the whatever your big local plumbing agency is that's like capturing all the market share. They want to beat them. They want to get there. They want to get there. And if you're like, look, I know you want all the email set up. You want your, all the websites set up. You want your logo. You want your brand wrap. You want your business cards, letterhead, blah, 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 blah. But you want all of it taken care of. And it's probably a headache for you because that's not your thing. He often says like, I'm not a techie guy. Like the last time I typed something on the computer, like I type with 2 fingers and like, that's not my thing, man. I hate it. I hate sitting at a desk and doing computer crap. If someone could just do it for me and then you go, look, I'll take care of the computer crap, the branding, all this. I'm your guy. And you're going to look good and you're going to be booking. You're going to be first page. You're going to be getting calls. You're going to be needing to field and screen calls. You're going to be telling me, stop it, turn it down, that sort of thing. And they're like, let's do it. How do I make that happen?
Yeah. Yep. It's a solid approach for sure. All right. The next one, propose a new service based on research to a recent client. So all of these first ones are to a recent client because they've already broken the barrier of purchasing and you're still on their radar because you did a project for them 1 month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, or whatever. We're going to talk about how do you find clients fast. If you don't have any recent clients, we'll talk about that in a minute. But this approach of using research to propose a new service to a recent client is all about you finding something that's happening in their industry or in the creative industry or marketing industry at all. You're pitching that back to them. And I can go back in time, maybe about 4 or 5 years when TikTok started to really blow up. And if you were watching that and saw TikTok starting to take off, which we all saw happen, and you never pitched it to your client, hey, you know what? This platform TikTok's really taken off. I saw this one plumber doing their TikTok page and they're doing some videos like this. We can do that for you. You can take advantage of being an early adopter for this new platform that now has 100 million users, blah, 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 in the early stages. This is going to go somewhere. You can be an early adopter and build an audience before all of your competitors get on it. That's pitching a new service based on research of you paying attention to trends in the business world that you're then pitching back to your clients. Man, I did so crappy on this, my whole agency run. I did so bad on this. I was the meet my clients, build a relationship, and hope the phone rings with leads. That's what I was. But I did a bad job on not proposing solutions to problems that my clients may not even know they have. And that's what you got to do to find clients fast. You've got to be more proactive and not just hope that their sale is going to come.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be such a trend-setting, groundbreaking thing like the next TikTok or whatever comes out. It doesn't even have to be that large, though it obviously can be if something like that is happening. Like AI was a huge one, so that's a huge opportunity there. Different social platforms, but it could even be in like within your niche, like that's relatively unknown to the outside world, but your clients and your audience would know. So here's 2 examples. I'll use ConvertKit as an example, and I'll use Wix Studio as an example, and how you can use this to make generate some income quickly, or at least to give you opportunities to do that. ConvertKit just launched a new free plan for up to 10,000 subscribers. And because my core service as the intensive is email marketing with ConvertKit, my ears perk up and I immediately started having those those shower thoughts where you're like, wait, that's an idea. I went, wait, that unlocks a customer tier that I didn't have before because all my current customers they have to have email lists. They have to be paying for ConvertKit. It's not cheap, and they already have a creator business. So like it kind of takes a whole bunch of people out. But there's a lot of people getting started with ConvertKit who wouldn't pay for my service. I go, wait a minute. It's a lot of work still to set up on the free plan. They give you certain features. And I go, I know exactly how they can get the most out of those 6 features they've unlocked for up to 10,000 subscribers. I could really unlock that for them. And I go, okay, well, they're not going to pay the big intensive price, but maybe I can create a really expedited service or a group call, and I could sell it for like a quarter of the price of my intensive. And I could do it to the large amount of people who are now going, I want in on that plan. And I go, I'll help you set it up just like that in one day on a call with 6 other people. And we'll make sure it's done by the end of the day. We'll walk you right through it, Q&A and everything. And it's only this much. I'm like, that's a good opportunity that I didn't have 5 days ago at the time of this recording. Now that's ConvertKit example. Wix Studio is another example. They're shipping features and new releases all the time. Big changes from plugins and apps to major functionality within the product, to business tools, to acquiring different things that make you have more access in their business solutions, to the Figma, to Wix Studio plugin. All of these are opportunities to go, my client needs that. Yeah. Reach out. Hey, did you hear that Wix Studio just launched that new thing? Now, since you're running this Airbnb operation or your vacation rental operation with multiple properties, they have the hotel runner app, and we can incorporate this. What do you say we jump on a call and we talk about how we can help you out with that, and we can get that moving? Here's why it's opportunities for getting that cash moving quickly.
Yeah. All of these they're great examples, Brad. They're great examples, Brad Wad. They're proactive though. This is the thing that as we're talking, I just keep thinking, man, you got to get out of your shell to do any of these things. You have to look at what's happening and what could benefit your client and get out of your shell and talk to them about it. Don't just hide your knowledge. Go and have confidence that you're trying to help your client's business. You're going to reach out to them and offer them something that can be beneficial to them. It doesn't even have to be you making money. Tell them that they need to get on TikTok, or they need to start doing email marketing and they should sign up for a free plan of ConvertKit. Hey, you really need to do this. I'm not going to make any money off of you signing up, but just sign up, because you do have to capture the leads coming into your website, and you're not doing that right now. Give them free advice like that. That has a better chance of turning into paid work than doing nothing. Yeah. Doing nothing guarantees that you're not going to be generating paid work, and you need clients fast because you're in the crap hit the fan moment.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly, Myco Psycho.
Oh, Myco Psycho. I've never heard that before. That's pretty good. The difference is, Brad Wad, that I actually like Myco Psycho. I like that. Like, I would put that on my license plate. So
Myco Psycho.
Thank you. Thank you for, this is what Brad was thinking. He was like, what kind of name can I give Mike?
I was like, I got him.
That's while I was dropping wisdom. I was dropping wisdom for our audience, and you're thinking of names.
You're dropping wisdom because you're older. That's what it is. Did I get you on that one?
I'm proud to be older because I just keep getting better with age, like fine wine,
You just need to grow a mustache,
a leather jacket. Mustache isn't going to be good for me. The bald dude with the mustache, it's not for everybody.
No, dude. Not for everybody. I think that will take your wisdom level from where you to new heights you never even understood.
People did tell me that when I grow out my salt and pepper beard, they're like, you should grow it out, because leave the bald face to the young kids. You having a beard makes you look wiser and more sage. And I was like, okay, I can see that. Yeah, a little bit of gray, a little bit of
that wisdom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now I just look like an egg with 2 eyes attached to a neck. That's what I have now. Okay.
But with good biceps.
Yeah, man. I use my biceps to make up for my insecurities. We're not going to go deep. We're not going to go deep today, but we could go deep if we wanted to. All right. Propose a new service based on a problem identification to a recent client. And this, Brad was touching on this, and we touched on it a bit. But ConvertKit, they're not capturing their leads. You identified a problem that they have, you're pitching a solution in. This isn't based on you researching their trends in their industry or researching their competition or just asking them for projects. These first few, this is actually just looking at their stuff, looking at their marketing and branding, and find something that they're not doing. Identify a problem they have and offer a solution for it. The next one, and I did this in one of my little rambles, was to stay on the radar for upcoming projects. Use the timing to reach out to your client. And I did this all the time. I would get a little panic because December was always slow at my agency. So at the beginning of the year, I was always giving my clients the Happy New Year, you got any projects email. Mm-hmm. It was a transition in a quarter and a year. And it made it easy for me to just reach out. Hey, we're doing some Q1 planning. You got anything? And then you go to Q2 at the end of March and you reach out to your clients and say, hey, we're doing a little planning for quarter 2. Just wanted to know if you had anything coming up that we might want to have on our radar. So those transition moments in a calendar year become easy ways for you to reach out to a client and ask without it being super awkward, like, hey, I'm desperate for work. I need something. And just random, use a time stamp as the motivation to reach out to them.
I'll add one piece to that. And this is credit to both Jonathan Stark of Ditching Hourly and Jamie Brindle. He's on Instagram. He's the guy who always does the shorts and the reels where he's like the newbie freelancer.
Talking to himself.
Experienced freelancer. Yeah. Talking to himself. Yeah, you've probably seen it. Like he's excellent.
And I know Jamie. He's a friend of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So credit to both of these gentlemen. I'm going to mix and match their advice here. So Jonathan Stark usually says the last quarter of the year for businesses and corporations, that's a prime time for new projects. Mm-hmm. And the reasoning, and so this comes from now Jamie, is that a lot of these corporate clients, they have budgets that they have allotted to them, and they want to spend that budget before the calendar year flips back over.
Yep.
Because then their new budget for the next year is based on their spending of the previous year. So if they spend less than their budget, guess what their budget is for next year? It's smaller. So if they spend their budget, then they get the same budget for next time. And they want to have that. It just gives them more to work with. So quarter 4, September rolls around, October, you should be reaching out and saying, hey, wrapping up as we head into quarter 4 here, just want to see if there's any opportunities here that I can help you out. Maybe it's a corporate client to help you spend some of that budget, or to say, this is a great time, that home run before the end of the year. This is a great time to reach out to these clients and to see if you can get some work moving.
Yeah. One of my Hollywood clients did that. They were on a fiscal year that ended in September. So October was the start of their Q1 and September was the end of their fiscal Q4. And they would come to me and oftentimes say, Mike, we got about 20 grand. What do you want? What do you think we should do with it? Like, what would you build for it? What would you build with this money? And we have this show and this much money. What do you think we should do? And I would just pitch back to them, okay, well, we could do this idea, or this idea. They would pick one and then they would spend their budget on that. I freaking loved that relationship with client. I loved that. Now, keep in mind that these bigger corporate clients, they're not all on the same fiscal calendar year. Mm-hmm. They change their fiscal calendar based on, I don't know what the criteria is when they want to file taxes or account for their money or whatever it is. It's for some reason, but they weren't on the normal January as the start of their fiscal year. So you got to understand your clients or your potential clients and know when to pitch that in. But I think it's great advice because I did see it firsthand. People wanting to spend their budget so that it was got spent, so they got the same amount next year or more.
Understanding your client, your corporate client, is key here because like my corporate year end for my company is end of May. So it's like quarter 1 starts in June. So it's like now I don't have that budget thing that I need to spend, but I know that there are companies, your corporate year end could be any month of the year. So if you know your client and maybe that's part of your, discussions, be like, hey, when's your corporate year end? It helps me to know, because sometimes that determines the budgets that you have and then helps us to time our projects out. So if you make a note, hey, corporate year end is May for that company, reach out April,
ask
or
it.
March and ask it. Hey,
we had a thing my first few years, and I didn't know why, but we had what we called Black August in my agency, Black August, because August was so busy and I didn't know why it was Black August. But now I look back and I realize that it was because my clients were spending their fiscal budget that was going to end at the end of September. So they would greenlight a bunch of work in August that would trickle into September. And that's why we had Black August. I wrote a chapter in Burn Your Portfolio about Black August. Black August munitions, I think, is what the chapter is called, because it was such a common trend in the first few years. But I didn't understand until years later why it was happening that way, but I do now. So you got to understand your clients and their fiscal year cycles. And with any other clients, it doesn't have to be that. I mean, just assume that a small business is going to start their fiscal year in January and they're going to end it in Q4, normal ending of December. And a lot of times those kinds of clients, like a restaurant or a plumbing company or something, they're going to be more apt to be like in let's conquer the year mode in Q1. So the holidays are over. They just took some break. They're starting to feel antsy because their business has kind of not been super proactive during the holidays. So now Q1 comes and you show up with an idea for them and they're like, yes, let's do that because I got to freaking get my revenue going for this year. So that Q1 can also be a really valuable time to hit up your clients.
Yeah, for sure. The timing of it. Put it in your schedule. Put reminders in. Put the list in your Rolodex, whether it's physical or digital, and follow up with them.
Does anybody have a physical Rolodex? If you have a physical Rolodex, drop a comment in the YouTube video of this or in your 5-star review of our podcast in a podcast platform and say, I'm the Rolodex person.
I'm the Rolodex guy. 5 stars for mentioning Rolodex, Brad.
Yes. Shout out to Rolodex. Okay. The next strategy. So all of these first ones were for recent clients. And the reason it was recent clients is because it's so much easier to get them to buy again when they just had a good experience with you on the last project. Now, some of you are saying, but my client didn't have a good experience. Should I still reach out to them? And the answer is yes, but just know that it's gonna be a tougher sell. Just know it's going to be a tougher sell. Yep. But you can go back into the reservoir. I've done this a bunch of times in coaching sessions. And I tell people, they're like, I can't find work. I'm not finding any clients. And then I say, is there somebody you've done work for in the past that you've let the relationship go stale? Like you did a project for them for 3 years ago and you haven't kept up with them at all? Do you have anybody like that? And almost everybody I've ever asked that to is like, oh yeah, you know what? I do have somebody. And Brad's thinking of somebody right now who he did some work for 3 years ago, who he hasn't kept up with. He's even opening LinkedIn right now thinking, I really got to reach out to this person. What have I done?
The money you leave on the table. When I look back and I track all the incoming leads for these intensives, and there's lots of people who didn't book that I could follow up with. Hey, is now the right time for you? Or the people who did book and did repeat books. And I go, I didn't even follow up. And that was like 2 years ago. Like, my gosh, Brad, like you should be better at this. And you go, that's all opportunity there.
Yeah.
So
money left on the table. That's what it is, because you're not keeping up with the relationships and you're not pitching into them ideas. You're not. And I know that there's the idea of pitching and pitching is bad. Oh no, don't ever pitch. But yeah, pitch. That's my opinion. You need work. You need work. This podcast episode is about the crap hit the fan. You need projects fast.
You need some cash.
Get over yourself and go ask your clients, pitch something in. You're trying to find projects.
Make some offers. The worst they're going to say is no. Yeah. And good for you, because it's better to get a no than nothing at all. Yeah. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
Go for no.
At least you're doing something. Go for no. Episode 1 or 2 of 2 Pixels Off podcast.
Yep.
Okay, so asking past clients. So Noah, you talked about how you hit up recent clients and how do you hit up past clients. What do you do if you are a you don't have any clients? What do you do if you don't have any clients to hit up? How do you find people who are in the decision-making piece of the funnel, Brad?
Well,
and feel free not to use the one that I have next because I'm not a humongous fan of these, but this is a crap hits the fan strategy. Crap is hitting the fan, people. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'll put it this way. I'm not a fan of this next strategy either. And I often, if anybody's ever talked to me and asked this, they can vouch for the fact that I will usually say, stay away from this. But first and foremost, I like to think that I try my best to be a man of humility. And so if I need to do something or I need to take my hat off, hat in hand, humble myself and do a thing I didn't really want to do, but I know it's the right thing to do, or at least it's a chance, I will do it. And I think that makes you a good man, in that scenario. So
it feels like you're preaching a sermon to me, but keep going.
Maybe
going.
I am. Maybe I am, brother.
It's a soapbox of some sort that he has. Yeah.
Preaching humility. I think humility injected into everything we do. We could all use a little bit of that. You know that phrase, be humble or be humbled? Yeah. You know the whole battle, sports, and family? Be humble or be humbled applies to every single one of those. Family, you're all, hot shot. Well, guess what? Your kids will humble you. Sports, and you think you're the top dog. Someone comes in and they're faster, kicks harder, shoots better. You're going to be humbled. In battle, and you're all shooting your mouth off. And then, maybe this whole like Mike Tyson fight coming up, or maybe it happened by the time we launched this episode.
It might have. I haven't. Yeah. I'm going to pay per view that thing. I'm just saying. I don't do a lot of pay per view, but I'm going to pay per view that fight, even though it's going to be fixed. Yeah. It's going to be fixed. Yeah. We all know. It's going to
be rigged.
It's rigged. It's rigged for sure.
Do you think they're going to? Do you think that they're going to let? Who do you think it's rigged towards? I know we're going off a side thing here, but I got to know.
It is a side thing, dude. You can't have Mike Tyson lose that fight.
No,
you can't have it. They need the money. The money needs Mike Tyson to win that fight. And I won't believe that it's not rigged if Paul is not knocked out. If he's knocked out and genuinely knocked out with a Mike Tyson style punch, then I'll believe that it wasn't rigged. Otherwise, it's rigged. If it's going to go to a split decision, all right. This is a total tangent, but it is going to be a split decision.
But it's the
split
battle
decision. Thing. Yeah.
Well, rigged, see, maybe in that scenario, maybe it's rigged, right? But in that case, Jake Paul, be humble or be humbled. I like to think that, he's going to go in and he's coming in like a hot shot. Thinks he's like top dog, and Mike Tyson's going to knock a few teeth out of his head. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's rigged.
Mike Tyson's like 60 years old, so we do have to keep that into.
You got to keep that in mind. There's an age disadvantage there too, but there's a wisdom there, and you got to,
Oh, and the freaking training videos doesn't look like he's lost much of his punching power.
I would not want to get hit by that. No. So that aside, humility, be humble or be humbled. Then this next one is marketplaces like freelance websites. So they're looking for freelancers to solve problems and to get them some outcomes, and they're actively buying.
Yeah.
They're there. They're ready to make decisions, but you don't have the leverage here. And so you're kind of at the mercy of, okay, it's a lower price project. There's a lot of competition, but hey, if you need a few $1,000, if you need a gig to get things moving, it can happen. It's humbling, but maybe that's a good thing.
I don't have a problem anymore. I did at the start, but I don't have a problem with the lower price project model there. Because if you think of your cost to acquire a client, and let me give you an example. My cost to acquire a client at my agency was flying to New York, meeting with people, taking them to dinner, lunch, whatever, I'm spending money on flights. I'm spending money on hotels. I'm spending money on meals. I'm nurturing a relationship over time. And then I convert that person into a client. It cost me thousands of dollars to convert that person to a client. Now, on a freelance website, you have no cost to nurture the relationship and find the client. You're automatically being put into a market where the people are already ready to make decisions. You don't have to make them aware of you. You don't have to make them consider you. You just have to go in and be competitive on your pricing. The freelance website did the marketing to bring that customer ready to make a decision into the fold, so it didn't cost you thousands of dollars. And once I started to realize this about the freelance websites, I was like, okay, yeah, if you were doing it direct to client, you might charge $2,000 for that thing, but now you're going to charge $800, but you had zero cost to acquire the client. You didn't have to market. You didn't have to do any of the traditional stuff that you have to do to market and win a client. So the price is reflected in that. So when you start to consider it that way, I think you can get over some of the angst that they are lower priced projects.
Yeah.
What do you think of that,
win.
Brad?
You can win at that game. I've talked to plenty of folks who my hot-headed opinion of stay away from these marketplaces, and they come in and be like, wait, can I change your mind? And I go, no, I'm right. And they go, well, let me tell you about why I think you're wrong. And then they'll tell me about how they're doing well on it, or how it's been like a really big deal for their business, or they say yes to the small projects because it always leads to these bigger ones and bigger relationships. Their network, their rating goes up, their network grows, all of it. And you're like, oh, I'm just like discounting this entirely without even looking at it from that angle. And so it can work, and there's pros and cons to it. It's more competition, but it's definitely an inroad to more clients, more work, and a bigger network.
Yeah, clients who are ready to make a decision. That's where they are.
Yep.
Okay, and we are in the phase of this episode on where we're talking about the strategies. If you don't have any clients and relationships to leverage, you don't have that, so you got to go somewhere. Going to a freelance marketplace is a potential place to find fast clients. That's what this is. It's emergency. Oh crap, hit the fan. Networking luck is the next one. Show up at your local BNI group, show up at your local Chamber of Commerce luncheon, and get lucky that somebody you meet at that event needs the services that you have to offer. That's what you got to do. If you don't have relationships, past clients and recent clients that you can reach out to in the ways that we started with, you got to really base it on networking luck. Hopefully finding somebody that has a pain point they're willing to spend money to solve, and there you are, you showed up and you got lucky in your timing.
Yep. Go to local co-working spaces. That's another one.
Ooh, that's a good one.
There's a lot of entrepreneurs there, young entrepreneurs, and they a lot of the time having that connection and being known by the folks there, going to their lunch and learns, or like their rooftop cocktail hour or whatever programming they have set up at these co-working spaces. They're professionals who are actively trying to grow their business, and they're at co-working spaces. So they're there to connect with other people. And you could just be like, hey, yeah, I'm the web designer. I've run the web design studio over here in 4B. We've seen each other at the rooftop thing. I saw you did this. That looks great. Your website's incredible. What about this? Did you think about this? Have you incorporated this? Let's talk. Let's figure it out. We can do that. Perfect.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Have you ever been pitched? This is the very last one that we'll talk about. Have you ever been pitched? Or no, I'm not going to say have you ever. How many times do you get in one day somebody messaging you about editing your videos, short form videos, or just any video editing services at all? How many people hit you up per day on this?
Okay. Between X and my email,
yeah,
at least two times a day.
Yeah.
And I'm not even checking I have another email account that I don't even check because it's mostly that. So I probably get more than that, but I'll get like literally one happened 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
And it's a cold email, like promising me the world.
Yep. Now, Brad, why I get them at least two per day, at least.
Yeah.
Why did you not hire one of those people? Why did the person who hit you up 6 hours ago, why did you not hire that person to edit your videos?
Well, first things off the top of my head is like, I don't know them and therefore I don't trust them.
Okay.
And I also feel it's inauthentic because they didn't watch my video. They didn't look at my website. They took us like, it's a canned email. It's sprayed and prayed. It's blasted out. And I'm like, you didn't even bother. Whereas if there's one dude who's like, man, I watched that video. I've been a subscriber for this many months. I love that video. And I just, excuse my forwardness, but I gotta, you said go for no, Brad. So I'm going for no here.
That's what it is.
If you hit me with that, I'll read your email. I might say no, but I'll read your email. Whereas most of these, I go, man, if the spam filter catches it, but it's spam, and if it somehow sneaks through and I see it's just a copy and paste email and you're promising me the world and all the results for free and blah, 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 or do you need an appointment setter or someone to quickly edit so you can look like Mr. Beast on YouTube? You're like, come on, get out of here.
Yeah. So the no relationship, there was no consideration. You're not looking. You were not aware of them. Let's take this to the funnel. You're not aware of them until that first email. You were not considering them, and they're expecting you to be in the decision-making part of the funnel on one email to you. It's counterintuitive to the whole sales funnel concept of awareness, consideration, decision. You have to build those things in that order over time. Now, the cold outreach luck that can happen is that somebody reaches out to Brad tomorrow and Brad wakes up in the morning and finds that his video editor that's been with him for a year quit. And Brad just shot a video on Thursday afternoon and Brad doesn't have anybody else to edit the video. And that person all of a sudden shows up in that email in the morning. Brad might reply and say, you know what? You somehow timed this just right. My video editor just quit and I have a video that I have to launch on Monday and I don't have anybody to edit it. Can you edit that for me? That's the cold outreach luck that these people are waiting. They're hoping that it happens, but they have to send out 1,000 messages to people in order to find the lucky timing that someone's in pain like that and ready to buy. And it's just unrealistic. But if you don't have anything else, then that's what you got to do. If you got nothing else, then you go to that. But before you go to that, go to all of the other options that we presented here today before you start going and just spray and pray, spam and fam, plam and bam,
spam and cram.
However we want to say the thing, spam and cram. Yeah.
It's just it's the bottom of the barrel, last ditch effort sort of attempt. Now, hopefully you don't get yourself to that position. You have lots of systems in place that make sure you're nurturing and connecting and growing and outreaching and you have all the systems in place to kind of keep the boat moving steady. But if you find yourself in a place where you're like, man, I need cash. And I've had some emails in the past month from, folks that I am connected with who've, are like, I'm in a tight spot.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, like, here's how I can help. And, I give some advice. And these things that we talked about today are exactly the things that you can, systematically follow to say, let's try these out.
Yep. Go to the recent clients, then go to a past client that you've let go stale, and then go into these cold approaches of freelance sites or networking luck or cold outreach luck. But those you do at the bottom of the list. You try those relationship-driven things to people who have already crossed the barrier of buying from you. That's what you try first.
Yep.
All right. Well,
There it
this
is.
is fun. Hopefully some people got some value out of this and some new ways to think about reaching out to your clients. This is Psycho Myco and Brad Wad with 2 pixels off. We are thankful that you took the time to listen. Please drop us a review on your favorite podcast platform or write a comment in the YouTube video. If you listen till here and you haven't written a comment, drop a comment. We love
Say
that.
hello.
We love getting that. We reply to the comments that we get. We can't reply to reviews, which I think is a bummer, but we can reply to comments. So thank you so much. Brad, you want to take us the rest of the way out today?
Well, I'm all out of love. I'm so lost
without you.
I know you were right. Believing it's so. So we're going to get a copyright strike for that. I'll stop at that just in case.
It's so good. I was going falsetto, man, to
You were.
harmonies, falsetto
You were.
harmonies.
I love it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on 2 Pixels Off.